The phone buzzed at 2:14 a.m. Not a text, a call. Ryan Reynolds stared at the screen from the edge of a bed that suddenly felt enormous. The kind of call you don't answer unless something's gone very wrong. He let it ring. Then it stopped. Silence, the kind that crawls into your chest and sits there. Because by then, the whispers were already louder than the jokes. For years, Hollywood sold them as a finished product, polished, playful, unbreakable. The quippy husband, the glowing wife, the coordinated red carpets and Instagram sarcasm that felt rehearsed but harmless. Relationship goals, they called it. But goals can rot when the foundation is fake. And in the winter of 2024, something cracked. Quietly at first, then all at once. It started with a word people pretend not to hear anymore. Wait. Not shouted, not tweeted, whispered. A phone call made behind a new mother's back. Blake Lively, less than 4 months postpartum, learns that her co-star, Justin Baldoni, has allegedly called her personal trainer. Not to congratulate her, not to coordinate schedules, to ask indirectly whether she could lose weight in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. For a scene that didn't exist. No lifting shot, no physical gag, nothing that justified the humiliation. The kind of request that doesn't leave bruises, but leaves scars anyway. Ryan reportedly exploded. Who wouldn't? A husband hears that story and sees red. The fat-shaming accusation becomes the spark. But sparks don't burn cities down by themselves. Someone has to pour gasoline. And here's where the story stops being about a bad phone call and starts being about power. December 2024. The New York Times drops a headline that lands like a missile. We can bury anyone inside a Hollywood smear machine. It reads like a morality play for modern times. Innocent actress, sinister co-star, shadowy PR operatives. A system rigged to destroy women who speak up. Blake Lively, the eternal good girl, positioned as the hunted. The internet does what it always does, picks a side. Baldoni is cooked overnight. Words like predatory and toxic stick to his name like tar. Studios get nervous, calls stop coming, doors quietly close. That's how Hollywood kills you now, politely. But there's a detail missing, a big one. A detail that would matter to anyone who's ever read a newspaper before believing it. The Times never mentioned that Blake Lively herself was interviewed, and Blake didn't correct them. For months, she held the line. Same answer, different interviews. I never spoke to them, said calmly, confidently, like someone who knows the truth will never catch up. She surfed the sympathy wave like a pro, while Baldoni sank deeper, labeled by an article that carried the weight of gospel, until a courtroom forced her to stop acting, June 2025, under oath. No publicist whispering in her ear, no carefully worded Instagram post, just a question and a microphone. And then it happens. Actually, I did give them an interview. 5 words. That's all it took. 5 words to detonate months of denial. The room reportedly went still. The kind of stillness you feel when someone drops a plate at a funeral. Everyone knows something is broken beyond repair. This wasn't a memory lapse. This wasn't confusion. This was a reversal. A confession that didn't just damage her credibility, it annihilated it. Because if she lied about that, what else was curated? Follow the timeline. August 2024, negative press about Baldoni begins to circulate. September, his crisis PR expert is hired, 9 days after the bad press starts. November, Blake files a lawsuit, not focused on harassment details, but on reputation damage. December, the Times article lands. June 2025, the truth slips out.
And here's the part that makes seasoned industry people lean back in their chairs. Her lawsuit, the one that painted her as a victim, contains almost no specifics about misconduct. No vivid scenes, no detailed accusations, just broad strokes. But page after page about how her image was harmed. As one legal expert put it, it's like accusing someone of arson and only mentioning they scuffed your rug. Then there's the trainer, the spy, as Baldoni later called him in texts. A man Blake herself allegedly recommended. A man tied closely to Ryan and Blake's circle. The same trainer posting photos, tagging celebrities, building clout. A middleman with incentives. And suddenly that original fat-shaming story looks less like a clear crime and more like a game of telephone, with careers at stake. Ryan Reynolds, watching all this unfold, reportedly began pulling away. Less time in the spotlight, more time with the kids, solo projects, distance. Not because he stopped loving his wife, but because he could see where the road was going. His brand is built on likability, on authenticity, on being the guy who doesn't take himself too seriously. And now his name is orbiting a story about manipulation, smear campaigns, and carefully timed outrage. That's a dangerous place to be. The mask slips further. Blake hosts a premiere party for It Ends With Us, a story rooted in domestic violence, and serves themed cocktails named after characters, including the abuser. The backlash is immediate. Book talk explodes. Fans who lived with that story feel mocked. Advocates speak out. The disconnect is no longer deniable. This wasn't clumsiness. It was tone-deaf confidence. The kind that comes from believing your image will save you no matter what you do. But images don't testify. People do. Monday, June 23rd, looms like a storm. Brian Baldoni's attorney prepares to file an amended complaint. Insiders say it's brutal. Emails, texts, timelines, alleged coordination with the press, alleged involvement not just from Blake but from Ryan too. The confession wasn't courage, it was triage. She saw the wave coming and stepped into the water early, hoping it would soften the impact. Hollywood PR usually happens in shadows, quiet calls, gentle nudges. Stories planted with plausible deniability. What makes this different is how sloppy it got. Too aggressive, too confident, too public. In the digital age, receipts live forever. Fans screenshot. Comment sections become courtrooms, and the old rules stop working. Studios are watching, brands are nervous, meetings that used to be automatic are suddenly under review. Blake Lively built her empire on being adored, on being safe, on being the woman America trusted. That shield is gone, not chipped, gone. And Ryan? He's stuck in the middle of a tragedy Hollywood has seen before. The loyal husband watching the ground give way beneath his feet, the phone that doesn't ring with offers, the jokes that suddenly feel out of place, the realization that love doesn't protect you from consequences. This isn't about whether Blake can bounce back. Hollywood forgives a lot. Affairs, tantrums, even cruelty, if you're honest about it. What it doesn't forgive is exposure. Being caught playing both victim and architect, being seen. In an industry built on illusion, that's the cardinal sin. Blake wanted to be the heroine, the dragon slayer, the woman who stood up and survived. Instead, she may become the cautionary tale whispered to young stars behind closed doors. About believing your own press, about mistaking influence for immunity, about what happens when the story you sell turns around and demands proof. Somewhere tonight, a phone lights up again. Another call, another silence, and Hollywood, that old, unforgiving machine, waits patiently. It always does.